Good morning, Sheriff. Senator.
Thank you also for coming to my office, and I wish we'd had more time to talk, but schedule didn't allow
You
that.
promised that we would.
Well, we'll do that then.
Yes, sir.
Some of the things we talked about, the one issue that I have, and this is certainly not an attack on what anyone believes,
Right.
but you have a website, and on your resume was it's called CROW, it's the Coalition for the Remembrance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
And since this is in the public domain, it's out there for everybody to see. And the issue that I have, I guess the problem I have is that some of the comments I know were made not by yourself, but by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad,
Yes, sir.
and probably some 80 years ago,
Yes, sir.
and in his writings. But some of those to me are incendiary. You know, they're some of the comments made, some of what his beliefs were under listing what Muslims believe and what they want under his comments about that are listed there. And I guess as it starts out on the home page, it talks about the plain truth as given to us by our leader and teacher. And I guess that's an acknowledgement of what he said. And some of the things he says in this, as we've talked, I think are kind of disturbing. And so that's the problem I have, I guess, and especially when we put these things out there in the public domain. And I will say I've watched several episodes of your show on the internet, and I didn't see a lot of the things that are said here repeated.
Right.
But could you,
Well,
I guess, give me some assurance, or I'm just struggling with this issue here.
yeah, I think I shared with you, I'm a person that is accepted by many people all around the world. And when we talk about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I suggested that you look at it in context. That's a biography on him. I'm an archivist where we maintain a history. And as I shared with you, we had different histories. And so I didn't know mine, quite frankly, sir. And what I wanted to do is to make sure that I get acquainted with that history. So I mentioned to you about the Constitution. We can't go back and change the Constitution when they suggest that we're 3/5 of a human being, but that's there, And I'm telling you, it is a biography of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the archivist, and I told you that I deal with people from all walks of life. You asked me another question off the record relative to another person. You wanted to know my views on those persons, and I happened to share with you an invitation that these persons had sent to me. We can talk about it openly, it doesn't matter. My point is that you're judging Munir Muhammad for his work and what I have done. Those who have been on the commission with me for years, people who have known me, they know of my record. And you asked me, I think, that I want to separate. I told you I had the aspirations of becoming a great politician once. And I have been voting all those years, and you said the Honorable Elijah Muhammad didn't vote. So obviously, that was a different time. Well, he didn't, and that was...
Well, I didn't say that.
Oh, okay. But we said a lot of things. In fact, I thought we had a great time. But all I can say to you, sir, is that I live here in America, and every time I travel, the first thing I think about, what day will I get back? So I'm here in America. I plan to be here. I'm not trying to separate from you, anybody else. So I don't know in what other way that I could answer you. But I told you that technically I'm not inclined. I don't do the websites, not because I don't want to. I don't know how. So just saying to you. But you're gonna.
Can you see though how some of the statements on that website would be disturbing to people?
I would see that if if you didn't look at it in context and when it was and the conditions of at that time. I told you that I don't go around acknowledging the 3/5 of a human being, but that's there.
Okay.
And so I do my best.
Mr. Chairman? May I comment there?
Yes, sir.
I think, and I had a great conversation with Senator Bivens also, and I think it's important that we restore our history and that we make it available. And a lot of our history isn't pretty. A lot of our history is a lot of hurt and pain, but it's the history. And as a historian and an archivist, if they're not his comments, then I don't see why it's a problem based on something a leader of our community said some years ago, based on the lifestyle that was given at that time. And if we think about religion, I think so many of us share so many different religions. That's the beauty of all of us. We have different beliefs. We're diversity, and I think that's what the Human Rights Commission is all about. It should be a level of diversity that has a reflection on many different walks of life, many different religions and backgrounds and beliefs, because that's what the state of Illinois looks like. That's who we are. We're not a one-sided or one particular group or person or belief. And so I like to hope that we can move from Mr. Munir's adoption. I've not heard from any other members that he's served with. This is a reappointment. We've not heard that there's been any challenges with him on the commission, and I hope we could move forward with this reappointment.
Thank you.
Senator Ryder.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to follow up actually on some of the things that Senator Bivens asked you about, but a theme that actually Senator Lightford raised. I've looked at your website. In fact, I have a copy of the printout here. One of the pages, it talks about what Muslims want. And there are several declarations in here that all of them start with the words "we want," and then there's different things in here. And I'll first ask, you're part of the group that originated this website, correct?
I guess you would say that, yes.
Okay.
I have a website, crowtv.org.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're listed pretty prominently in here. So I want to make sure that,
Yes, sir.
I'm right insofar as attribution
Okay.
to your contribution to the website.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Who's the we?
That
we
was-
want. Who's the we?
That was the 1930, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and those that he was with. The man that was put in jail for teaching his own children on 11th and State. The man who was sent to prison for something that he was too old to go to the war. That's the man, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Okay.
I was not born.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've shared with you, and I think Senator Lightfoot said it much better than I could have ever said it, of what I do. You know, I didn't put the website together because, as I told you, I don't do that. But that's a biography, if you look at it, of the Honorable Elijah
Well,
Muhammad.
no, actually, the section I'm referring to is absolutely not a biography. That would be where the person
It say the
was born.
biography of the Honorable Elijah
I tell you,
Muhammad.
if I could finish,
Okay.
then why don't you and I have a conversation here?
But it
And you'll
does,
understand,
Senator.
excuse me,
Okay.
you'll understand where I'm going with this, okay? It said, a biography is who a person was, where they were born, maybe what they believed in.
Okay.
This is, I'm just
What they
trying,
believe in.
okay,
Okay.
when it says we want, I'm simply asking, I'm not trying to make a point here, I'm asking for information. Who is the we? Is that Muslims? Is that the creators of the website? Or is it just Elijah Muhammad, but you're just using we rather than he?
Well, he certainly wrote it, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. See, there is no Nation of Islam since he's no longer here, as the archivist. That's one of the reasons that it's like that. In 1975, that ended that. He was the Nation of Islam. He is the Nation of Islam. That's a point that needs to be made clear.
Are you part of that?
Yeah, I'm an archivist.
You're not part of the Nation of Islam?
We don't call it the Nation of Islam.
What do you call it?
I call it CROW, the Coalition for the Remembrance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Are you questioning what my religious beliefs are? Is that
No,
what-
I'm trying to find out whether or not the statements here that say we want, whether or not you feel like you're part of the we. Maybe I should have started it that way.
Yeah,
Are you part of the we?
maybe you should. Let me say this. The most prominent part of that this man asked me about was, did I believe in separation? Am I a person that's functioning like I believe in separation, sir? That's the part that I don't understand. You didn't address when we talk about the 3/5 of a human being. Do we talk about George Washington, who owned slaves, Thomas Jefferson?
Well, we
Other-
can, but he's
but
not
I'm-
before,
but
he's
my
not before the
point-
table for a
But
hearing.
I'm just saying you make me defensive as if that I'm not entitled to any history. My
Sir,
history
I
is-
promise I'm not doing that. I'm
Well,
just-
that's the way it appears to me, sir.
Okay, I'm simply asking whether or not you consider yourself part of the we. It's not an attack. I'm just asking whether or not you consider yourself part of it. That's it.
Yeah, well, what you're asking me, I just don't see how that's relevant in the way that you're putting it
Well,
to me.
okay, let's talk about why it's relevant, and I'll follow up on Senator Lightfoot's point. You're on the Human Rights Commission.
Right.
We talk about diversity. We
Right.
talk about equality.
Diversity, right.
One of the we wants, one of the points made in here has to do with interracial marriage. And the objection on here to interracial marriage, which I'm assuming, I've never served on the Human Rights Commission, but I'm assuming that at some point of some of the execution of the duty of the Human Rights Commission, the issue of interracial marriage could come up.
And I would rule on it fairly.
Okay, so what I'm asking is, in here, the articulated objection, strong objection, if I could finish my question.
Okay, yeah.
The articulated strong objection to interracial marriage. Do you share that view?
As I said to the senator, if a person is in love, I don't care who they marry. I told him I've been married to the same lady for 41 years. And I really don't understand the question about interracial. Perhaps if I was questioning people about how you feel about this person or that person, I don't see the relevance of that, sir.
You don't see the relevance of me asking a question
Yeah, I see you
about your view of interracial marriage when you're on the Human Rights Commission? Really?
I just, because anywhere that I have ruled, sir, I rule with balance and fairness. I think this makes me, being under the conditions that I've come up in America, more qualified than most, because I know what it is to be discriminated against.
Sir, I'll be honest with you, just lay it out. If the statement, we believe that intermarriage and race mixing should be prohibited, that's on the website.
Okay.
If you have any notion of that you believe that's true, you're not qualified to serve on
Well,
that.
no, I don't.
That's what, well, you asked the relevance, and I'm
okay.
pointing it out, and I would think that anyone in this committee could see that.
Yeah, well, okay.
Now, do you ascribe to that belief?
No.
You don't?
No.
I appreciate you answering that question. Thank you.
Senator Lightfoot.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I see Senator Ryder has a copy of what the Muslims wants, but it looks like you're missing the heading of that. You just have the actual portion. But if you want to see what the actual website looks like, okay, then you have to read it. It says biography of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad,
Up top.
accomplishments of the Muslims, and then it's in quotes that these are comments that comes from his two writings, What the Muslim Want and What the Muslims Believe, archive history from the Muhammad Speaks newspaper. Then it says questions, a wide-awake man should ask quotes from the Elijah Muhammad. So you're constantly questioning this person of, when it's clear here that these were newspaper clippings and readings from Elijah Muhammad, a man that wrote it in 1930. He said to you before he was even born. So I think that I understand you wanting to make sure that he's fair in a lot of the beliefs that the We Want had back then, but I think you have to also be fair in all of the situations of what was going on during that time. There was a lot of writings, and there's a lot of writings that we live with constantly. And I just think that right now we're going too far, too deep unnecessarily to the views of someone else because he's an archivist and he's storing the history. I think if it were anywhere on the website that his picture was with this, the Elijah Muhammad picture is at the top. It's got the acronym of the organization that's restoring the archives, then I would be troubled myself if he had quotes there. or if he identified himself as the belief in this. This is carryover information, so I just want that to be clear for the record, that it's right here for everyone to see, and it says it's the bio of someone else who's deceased and been gone for quite a long time.
I agree. We should look at the whole, and let me read another portion for you because I think it goes
Senator,
a
this
good
will
deal
be the
farther
last
than-
one, because please, this will
I
be the
understand.
last one, and we need to move on.
Okay, here's the point I want to make. I'm going to read another section of the website for you, and you tell me whether or not this is just archivist or whether or not this is buying into something.
Okay.
The Coalition for the Remembrance of Elijah, I'm on the front page of the website. The Coalition for the Remembrance of Elijah Muhammad's website is prepared with sacred reverence to the truth of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
To his teaching.
Okay, the truth
To his
of the teachings. The truth, not the opinion, not just as this is what he said, the truth of the teachings. Okay? And
That's their
again, in
language.
another line, it says, just the plain truth as given to us by our leader. This supreme wisdom, okay, not what he said, this is the committee saying this. This supreme wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the words brought to us by our messenger will keep us from stumbling and falling. Okay, that's not, gee, this is just what the guy said. This is a very strong statement of belief that what was said in this website, what he said, is the supreme truth. It's wisdom. Now, that's more than just saying, hey, this is what the guy said in the 1930s. This is articulating a belief in it. And I don't know how that could be denied. That's right on the very front page of the website. That's the first thing that people get a look at when they see this. Now, given that, I mean, is that an accurate statement of what this...
Yeah, you know what? That's why I'm so embarrassed by, to be honest with you, I have not read that in so long. I didn't know everything that you're saying to me. I'm just listening to you, but I think the senator puts it in such great context, and I don't know why you can't see that.
If I... let's-
But I'm just saying,
Okay.
sir, how did we come here? We didn't come here. Do we have to go through this? Do we have to look at our history and see the conditions of us as a people?
Sir,
From
I'm not talking about
1555 to
history.
But that's all we're talking about.
Well, I appreciate that's what you want to talk about, but I'm reading a website of which you
Well,
were
I
part
didn't-
of putting
but I
together
explained to
that
you.
talks about supreme truths and beliefs. Not, this is what this guy said, but these are supreme truths and beliefs. That's pretty strong language.
See, I say under different circumstances, I don't see what you're saying. I
Okay,
don't
let me...
understand.
Senator, please, I want to close it.
Yeah,
That's fine.
yeah.
Thank you. Senator Lightford moves that the